What's up, Smashers? I'm Zach.
And I'm Aposl, and we're here with Video Game Bootcamp.
And this is the weekly Smash 4 update, episode 10.
Weekly Smash 4 update.
Monday, we have a picture of Lucario doing his neutral B, aka Aura Sphere. Sakurai is quoted as saying a size comparison of Lucario's standard special attack, Aura Sphere, in its weakest and strongest states. The attack is faster and more powerful when the Aura Sphere is bigger. So last week we basically had Sakurai promising us that Lucario's aura power would be stronger this game, and this pic is showing us that Sakurai is not a liar. The most obvious thing to comment about this picture is that the largest Aura Sphere in this version of Smash is a lot bigger than the largest version of the Aura Sphere in Brawl. In a translated comment, Sakurai is quoted as saying, "Furthermore, even though it's called Wave in actual Pokemon games, it's known as Wave Guiding in the movie and in Super Smash Bros." I guess maybe it's a homing attack now? I don't really know what that's supposed to mean.
Tuesday, more Lucario. In this shot, we get a picture of Lucario using his extreme speed move from the last game, which was his up B recovery. Sakurai says if Lucario's aura is fully charged, it can fly extremely far, so be careful not to accidentally launch out of the arena. This wasn't really a problem in Brawl. One of Lucario's greatest weaknesses back in Super Smash Bros. Brawl was his subpar recovery. It didn't have a hitbox on it, so you could pretty much just keep smacking him out of it over and over until he eventually died. That's probably still going to be a good strategy, especially since he's only going to get really strong with it once he gets the high percentages, but at least he won't die immediately. Also, take note of the fact that Sakurai says that you can actually fly out of the arena. He said the same thing back when Wario Man was introduced, when Wario was announced for Super Smash Bros. Brawl. He said, "Don't get on your bike or you're gonna die." This leads me to believe that he's exaggerating a little bit. It probably won't fly that far, but it will leave Lucario's with a lot of options for recovering. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes all the way under Final Destination, for instance. But only when you're at like 170% maybe. Either way, I think this bodes well for Lucario. It takes one of his greatest weaknesses back in Super Smash Bros. Brawl and kind of flips it on his head and ties it into his whole general motif and playstyle. So I'm really excited to see how it's going to work.
Wednesday, we have a picture of Palkia coming out of a Pokeball, confirming that Spear Pillar will not be returning. Palkia appeared in the Spear Pillar stage of the previous game, but now it's coming out of a Pokeball? Here's Palkia's signature move, Spatial Rend. So every Smash game has a variety of Pokemon that you can use from the Pokeball item, and I'm just interested to see more huge, large, lumbering Pokemon, because Pokemon has so many huge creatures in the series that's just what would get crazy when you start throwing Pokeballs and all these large things start coming out and no one will really know where to hide.
Thursday, it is said that the cosmos is beneath Rosalina's gown. I'm not going to make that joke. In this picture, we see Rosalina doing a little kick of sorts, where she actually shoots out some stardust from under her dress. Despite being incredibly sexy, it actually looks like a pretty good anti-air move. My guess is that it's probably an up air, but it could be a special move as well. There's not really much else to say about this update. It's pretty standard, just one of Rosalina's moves, except for that little wind thing at the end of her kick. It looks like a little vortex, and we wonder if it's actually going to be a wind box. Some characters back in Super Smash Bros. Brawl had wind boxes, like Falco, Pit, Toon Link, and they actually affected combat in very subtle, strange ways. We wonder if Sakurai is going to explore that concept a little bit further. Then again, this might just be a visual effect to the character herself, and it might have nothing to do with the game's mechanics, but either way, we got to make something out of this update, so.
It's Friday, guys, and unfortunately, Mother Brain will not be a playable character in Smash 4, but she will be an assist trophy. Sakurai is quoted as saying, "Housed within the control capsule, protected by Rinkas, eyeball armed with a laser brain attack. The massive assist trophy Mother Brain joins the collection." Mother Brain was a really cool final boss character in the Metroid series, but the actual version I would like to see as an assist trophy is the one with a body. This version of Mother Brain just reminds me of Krang. Just unable to really do anything. I mean, she has lasers, but it's just kind of lame.
"666 Blaziken says, I am hoping for Cranky Kong. He will play like Scrooge McDuck. I don't think Scrooge McDuck has ever been in a fighting game.
I can actually see this, because if you make a comparison, Cranky Kong is the Scrooge McDuck of the gorilla world. He isn't rich with gold, but he is rich with bananas.
Yeah, but like, this is making the assumption that he's gonna play like they do in DuckTales, I guess. So like the NES game. So what? All he could do is bounce.
Yep. Forward smash, bounces on his cane. Down B, bounces
on his cane. Good suggestion. I hope we see it.
Kuwait14 says, Diddy and Dixie together, kind of like the Pokemon trainer. I'm a little offended and confused by this suggestion. Not only does this idea seem nothing like Pokemon trainer, the only way I could reconcile the two ideas is that like Diddy is in the background cheering on Dixie as she plays. Like, there was no two characters playing at the same time.
Yeah, but I could see that happen, because remember they like gave each other high fives in the games and stuff. And I actually did hear that. That is a rumor circulating around. Somebody else said it in the comments that Dixie's actually going to be in the game, and they are going to operate on a like tag team kind of system, which would be really cool, but it would just be another Zelda Sheik, I think, and one of them would be good and one of them would be bad, so.
I would actually like to see a character like that where like the model is loaded. Actually, now that I think about this more, I wouldn't mind. Maybe if the character was in the background, they could actually do, like, instant switch stuff.
Like tag team stuff?
Yeah, that would be cool. Kind of cool now that I think about it. Actually, I've changed my whole idea. This idea is very great.
But at the same time, what you have to think about is that Diddy Kong was really strong in Super Smash Bros. Brawl because he had a really tight moveset. It was really strong. If you add in an ability to tag out the Dixie, what are you going to lose? You're going to lose one of his moves somehow, and unless it's the peanut gun, it's going to be kind of integral to his kit. So we'll have to wait and see, but I would kind of be excited for that, I think.
Well, if this character worked out any way I'm imagining, which is super broken, take out the bananas.
Take out the bananas. Petition to take out the bananas. Everybody else said Funky Kong. Honestly, I think this is a really cool idea, and I feel like he would make sense in the Smash universe, especially if he was his Donkey Kong 64 incarnation, which was like a military general type who gave you a bunch of weapons. I don't think he would make it in if he still just drove his plane around, though.
I think the best idea for Funky Kong is, even though this wouldn't represent his style or a moveset representing what he does in the games, is just a palette swap for Donkey Kong. I think that would be really cool, and it would add him into the game.
Yeah, I would honestly, and this is kind of a side note, I want to see palette swaps become part of the character themselves and part of the costume. Kind of like Funky Kong into Donkey Kong. Dr. Mario, maybe something with Fox, Falco, where they become, I don't know, Wolf. Well, not Wolf, because he was an actual character. But Leon and whatever else of those characters were from Star Wolf. I feel like they could do a lot more with palette swaps in the next game, and maybe they'll take Project M's initiative, because in Project M they have some really unique ones, so maybe we'll see them expand on that.
Change Kirby into Waddle Doos.
This week we want to know what Pokemon you'd like to see in the next game. Not in terms of a playable character, but in terms of coming out of the Pokeball as an item, just as we've seen Palkia. There have been a lot of Pokemon to be released since Super Smash Bros. Brawl, so be creative and think of which one you would like to see the most.
Don't forget to answer in the comments below, like the video, and if you like what we do here in the Smash 4 Weekly Update, please subscribe to the channel.